And good morning, everybody. Again, it is Friday, finally, as May 8th, 2019. And it's the end of the week. You can take a deep breath, let that out. And in a few hours, you'll be able to go home from work. It's 11 o'clock now, so you can go home in about 5 or 6 hours, depending on how your day is. Maybe you get out earlier, maybe you work later. But it's a good Friday. The sun is shining, finally. It's not snowing or raining or icy. It's just a little cold, so I guess we can deal with that. Not too bad. So my name is Steve Brogan. I'm the Town Media Director, if you don't know that already. And you can watch this broadcast on the multitude of places that we put this out. So Facebook, on all the pages we share it to. You can also watch it on YouTube. On both of those things, you can out a bunch of different ways. Pretty cool stuff, too, because if you wanted to keep up with what's going on with meetings here in town, you can also watch those. If you're not in town, you can watch those also through tyngsboroughma.gov. So definitely keep up with what's going on in your town. We try to make it as easy as possible. On today's show, so we were supposed to have Dr. Michael Flanagan today. Apparently, we had a little bit of a goof, let's say, in the in scheduling. So I think that was my fault, actually. So no worries there. But he will be on next week. I just talked to him, so he's going to be on next week to talk about the school department, and that will be a really good interview because I'm sure everybody's going to have lots of questions for the superintendent. Start thinking of them now. If you have anything you'd like to ask of the superintendent, reasons why, and so on and so forth for all kinds of different subjects, write them down and tune in next Friday, and you can check that out. So for today, what we're going to do is we're going to just talk about. I got some news that I want to throw at you. That's some pretty interesting stuff, things that are going on in town and coming up in the next couple of months. And then we got a couple of funny stories we're going to talk about. I've got Ray, Sim, and Kaylee here pushing buttons and chiming in as well. They'll be chiming in as well. Whoops, I lost my. There we go. There they are over there. So they're gonna chime in. They're gonna chime in and hang out as well. And this will be like with the Friday wrap ups that we used to do a couple months ago when we had Julia also here as my sidekick. So they're my new sidekicks. They're gonna hang out and do some stuff with us on Friday. So we've got a bunch of funny stories and things that we're gonna chat about, including Momo. That's been a big one. That's a very confusing subject with that whole thing. What's actually going on with that? But anyways, quickly before we get to some of that stuff, just want to mention. So it is election season, so if you are interested in running for office here in town, there's a number of seats available that'll be up for grabs come election day. I'm going to go through the list quickly so you can decide for yourself if maybe you have some time and you want to maybe volunteer some time to the town. It is not a bad idea to do it, definitely. Great way to understand more about what's going on in your town and also to give back, maybe help a little bit if you have the time, obviously. Some of these require some time, a little more than others. But the seats that will be open, there's one on the selectmen, one on the assessors, two on the Board of Health, one on the Cemetery Commission, two on the Finance Committee, two on the Library Trustees, one on the Housing Authority, one on the Planning Board, and two on the School Committee, and two on the Sewer Commission as well. So there's a number of seats that will be being elected. I imagine a lot of the incumbents probably will be rerunning for their seats, but that doesn't mean that you can't try. And there will, as far as I know, as far as the clerk has told me, there's definitely a few seats that haven't been. Has been no paperwork brought back for those seats, so those are definitely will be available for folks to try to get into. That said, as far as the paperwork goes, so you have to pull your papers by the 22nd of this month. You have to go to the town clerk, tell her that you want to run for whatever seat it is, and she'll give you the papers, so you'll be pulling your papers. You have to do that by the 22nd, and then you have to return those papers with your 50 signatures by the 26th of March. So if you're interested and you want to run for a seat, there you go. Just talk to the town clerk if you have any more questions on that. Also, March 13th is the second master plan visioning session. Later today, we're going to talk to Chaz Dowdy. He is definitely coming. I talked to him already. But we're going to talk to Chaz Dowdy about the master plan and how that process is progressing. That visioning session is coming up on the 13th of March, as I mentioned, and that's at 7 p.m. at Old Town Hall, just over on Kendall Road. And there's also a survey that's still been going around if you'd like to fill that out. If you can't maybe make the meeting, but you still want to help out, you can fill out those surveys as they come out. We've been sharing them out and getting them out there so people can fill them out and at least, like I said, at least take part. Also, the Board of Health is having their health fair on April 6th. And at that health fair, there'll be a number of vendors for health-related vendors and some others as well. We'll be there doing some stuff. The police and fire departments will be there doing some demonstrations and talking to people. So there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff. There's also, that same day, there's an e-waste recycling program being set up by the Boy Scouts, Scouts USA, and Girl Scouts. You can also pick up your rain barrels that same day at the health fair. If you have any questions, feel free to call the Board of Health. They can give you some information. You can also go to tyngsboroughma.gov and get any additional information that you'd like on the Board of Health website about those programs. And the conservation one, that's the rain barrel program. You can get some information on that from the conservation page there. Or you can go to thegreatamericanrainbarrel.com if you'd like to sign up and purchase your own rain barrel, or as many as you want. It's a really cool program, by the way. It's a very, very good deal on the rain barrel. So if you're interested in that, saving some water, maybe watering your garden with rainwater from your gutters, it actually works really well. I do it at my house. It's actually pretty cool, especially if you don't have hoses nearby. Or water spigots nearby. Also, curbside yard waste collection is May 10th and May 24th. So mark your calendars for that. And then Household Hazardous Waste Day is June 1st. And let's see, where else am I going? The Winslow School reunion is coming up on April 6th. So if you had gone to the Winslow School, if you're from town and you've gone to the Winslow School and you want to meet some of your classmates maybe, or submit some photos. They're looking for photos, so go to the Tyngsborough Historical Society Facebook page. You can go there and submit photos, and you can also email Ashley Makovich, and she will collect those. She's been collecting those, so apparently she's got quite a few already, but they're always looking for more because it's just really kind of cool to see all that stuff. The Recreation Department has their Shamrock Ball coming up on the 16th of this month. That's at Tyngsborough Elementary School from 6 to 8 p.m. Tickets are going very quickly, so if you do want to go to this, definitely get in on this ASAP. If you're a dad and you've got a daughter who's in the school system and you want to take her to this, definitely get in on those tickets soon because they're going very, very fast. Field Day ×5 is coming up, and they're looking for volunteers, coach volunteers and regular volunteers. Also for the Shamrock Ball, they're looking for volunteers, and also for the block party coming up on August 25th. Hooray! That was an awesome time. We're very excited for the block party. So they're looking for volunteers for all of those events in the Recreation Department. So if you have some time, feel free to talk to Allison Page over in the Recreation Department, and she'll sign you up. She'll be very happy to. Shady Glade and Sherburne trails have been remarked, if you didn't know already. Those have been remarked, all the trail systems, so you won't get lost anymore. Very nice. I got lost at Sherburne a couple times, actually. It's very embarrassing, but ended up in somebody's backyard the first time. I don't know how that happened, but and then there are a bunch of job openings here in town, so I won't go through the list right now, but you can go to tyngsboroughma.gov, check out the list of job openings. There is a surplus auction. I'm not sure if that finished. I should probably cross that one off. I'm not sure if that's still going, but there was a surplus auction. Check the website for that one. And if you don't know already, if you have just tuned in the last for the first time in the last couple of weeks, we have a new channel here in town. We have an education channel on the Verizon spectrum of cable service, so you can now watch all your school committee meetings and other school events coming out of the school department on that channel, and that is channel 28 here on Verizon in the town of Tyngsborough. We're working on getting Comcast up to speed and getting those other two channels because we're only operating one on Comcast right now. So soon enough, Comcast subscribers will also be able to watch all the programming as well. But for now, if you do subscribe to Verizon, you can watch all the school stuff. So very, very cool. So with that said, actually, I have a couple other things I meant to get to. Totally forgot. Oops. There's a lot of news. A lot of stuff lately. The COA, Council on Aging, has a new newsletter. So if you want to find out what's going on there, there's a bunch of programs. I did a video last week, actually, with Will Mercier. He's one of the drivers for the bus service. It's an awesome program. If you are a senior in town or you know anybody who's a senior in town and has trouble getting around, needs rides places, it's like $2 each way. They will take you basically any place in Tyngsborough and in contiguous towns, abutting towns attached to Tyngsborough with the bus service, and they have regular trips where they go to Walmart, they go to AMC theaters, and a couple other places. So really, really good program. They'll pick you up at your door. Will actually, or whoever the driver is, will actually come and help you and get in the bus. And I mean, it's a really great program and super inexpensive. Very, very valuable service here in the town. The bus is provided by the Lowell Regional Transit Authority, so that's really cool. We don't have any out-of-pocket expenses other than paying for gas and drivers to help drive these vehicles around. So it's a great program. Again, if you know anybody who's a senior or has difficulty getting around, then you can let them know that. And if the person has to travel with a caregiver, the caregiver actually travels for free. So very nice. And I think they can take up to 12 people, including folks in wheelchairs. So full service for anybody who has any disabilities or needs rides around and is a senior. So very cool. And we also did a video with the some of the folks doing the Meals on Wheels program. They are looking for volunteer drivers. If you know anybody that might be willing to, or yourself might be willing to drive around and deliver some of the Meals on Wheels meals. Super helpful. Talk to Tracy over at the Council on Aging, and they will be more than happy to add you to the program. So that's also a really nice program. Very, very inexpensive for seniors. They get meals brought right to them. So for people that are homebound or sick and can't get out, it's a really, really nice program. And that's been going on for a number of years. I'm not sure how long, but it's been going on for quite a while now, the Meals on Wheels program. I'm sure we've all heard of it, but very nice program. So also coming up March 23rd is a program called A Night on the Edge, and it is an Alzheimer's Foundation fundraiser that's done by Michelle Canning, and it's music and lots of entertainment and fun. It's 7 p.m. over at the Chelmsford Elks Hall on 300 Littleton Road in Chelmsford, Mass. The Conservation Department had sent me this, Danielle Maccheroni. This is through Middlesex Conservation District. They're doing a spring plant sale. I'll post the links to some of this stuff, all this stuff in the description after, but if you're an avid gardener like I am, you can get good prices actually on shrubs and trees and perennials, annuals, whatever it is you like. They've got a whole bunch of stuff, and you can pick it all up over at, I believe, at Kimball's over in Westford. So go get some ice cream, get some plants, you know, makes for a good deal, I think, right? That's not too bad. And then finally, let's see what else did I have. Lastly, the Friends of the Tyngsborough Public Library are doing a membership drive. So this is basically a fundraiser. Members pay a small fee. They become a member of the Friends of Tyngsborough Public Library, and those monies are used to support the programs that the library itself does, and that the Friends of Tyngsborough Public Library help to put on. So just like the book sale, those funds help to do a lot of the library programs as well. So if you want more information, you can go to tinglib.org and get some information on that. There's also flyers kicking around. I think they did a mailer as well, the Friends of Tyngsborough Public Library. So you should be getting one of those in the mail very soon. But if you didn't, you can come down to the library and get one of your own brochures. And like I said, you can go to tinglib.org and get more information as well. So lots of really cool stuff going on. I know this is, people always say, you know, when I tell them that I work in Tyngsborough, they're like, oh, that's a small little town. Must not be much that happens. No, that's not true. There's lots that happens in this town. You'd be surprised. There's quite a bit of things that go on. My news list has gone from like a sheet to a folder full of things and a notebook full of things, literally. So there's a lot that actually happens in this town. So well done to all of you folks who put on these programs, and never think that nothing happens in your small town, because lots of stuff does, and generally good stuff too. So very cool. So I mentioned later on today, Chaz Dowdy is going to be on from the master plan. We're going to talk about that because that session is happening on the 13th. So tune in later. We'll kill this episode once we finish it at 12 o'clock, and then Chaz will be in. We'll start a new one. And then after that, scheduling is still on for this one. We're going to go over to a couple of historic buildings over on Kendall Road and do a tour. So there's a couple of buildings. Warren Algrove, also known as Augie to most of you, I'm sure. He'll be there, and another gentleman, Herb Morton. And between the two of them, I think they know more about history than probably everybody in this building combined times 10. I mean, seriously, these guys know so much crazy information, like random stuff too. You know, it's pretty cool, but it's very good information, obviously. Very fascinating stuff. So we're going to do a walkthrough with them later on today and learn about and talk about those two buildings and the structures and, you know, so on and so forth, what's going to happen with them. So that'll be pretty cool. So with all that said, I'm going to bring Raysam and Kaylee on this now. We're going to kind of talk about some general stuff. If you guys want to chime in, feel free to on Facebook. I should mention this. I guess I should mention this more often so everybody knows the views and opinions of some of these things. They're not what the administration or selectmen or anything. We kind of just banter and have some fun usually and just kind of goof off and talk about some fun stuff. But there's some serious subjects we talk about as well. But don't ever think that what I'm saying is what the administration or anybody else says, because that's totally not the case. I'm pretty free to talk about what I want to generally, though I'll keep it clean, obviously. We're not going to talk about goofy stuff, you know, ridiculous things. But that's it. Some interesting things have been happening in the news. So, okay, Kaylee, yeah, you're on. There you go. So the first thing we were going to talk about, right, is this this Momo thing. And Raysam and Kaylee, you guys have heard about this, right?
Yeah.
The Momo thing. Okay, so my understanding of this is that supposedly there was this Momo was being edited into YouTube videos, and then telling kids to do basically awful things or scaring the bejesus out of them, but telling them to do basically awful things, you know, turning on the stove and committing suicide. I mean, just some really ridiculous things. So it's kind of become this sort of like urban legend, I guess. But then, unfortunately, because it became an urban legend, it grew legs, and now people are actually doing these things, even though Originally, it might have been a hoax. We don't really know. That you can't really tell. The internet says one thing but means another thing. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. Not just Momo, but internet safety in general for kids. Obviously, for us as adults, we have this scams all the time. It's really annoying, actually. All the scams that are going around. These people. The best one I heard recently was a guy supposedly from Nigeria who was in space. I'm not even kidding you. This was a legit scam that went out through email, that the guy emailed people saying that he was stuck in space, outer space that is, and needed money to help him get home. I swear on all that is good and holy that this was a legit. I was like, you got to be kidding me, like really. I even had to like Snopes it to make sure it wasn't fair. But seriously, people actually did. It's the best one I've heard yet. But there's other scams too that hit adults. The dish scam and the ones that they tell you that you're
National Grid one, the gas one.
Yes.
Coming to
So
houses.
that was I shouldn't say good one. That was a really convincing one.
Yes.
The Dish Network scam was also a really convincing one. But so those are the ones that affect the adults. So the ones we want to talk about though are the ones that are affecting kids, because there's a lot. They're a very easy demographic to hit because they're in YouTube and they're surfing the internet just like we used to back in the Wild West days of the internet, which kind of still is. But I mean, I remember when AOL first came out and we were using Instant Messenger and chatting with people.
I still use my AOL email.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Telling employees that whenever they ask for my email, and I have to say it's this at AOL.com. A little embarrassing, but I haven't changed it.
Got a Hotmail.
I don't even know how many like Gmail accounts, Yahoo accounts, I had an AOL.com account. A bunch of them. I don't use most of them anymore. I think I have 2 that I actually use, a Gmail and a Yahoo. But and I only keep the Yahoo because I've had it so long.
Well, that's mine with the AOL. All my things are linked up to it, so I don't know how to get into like some of the passwords and all of that. So might as well just keep it.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I'm curious. So we pulled up a website. It's kids safety, a kids internet safety website. And again, I'm curious to hear what you guys at home, if you're watching, have done for your children, if you have young children or children at all, really, what you've done to help protect them on the internet. I know at my house we took YouTube off my daughter's iPad because we found out. So this was actually right before the Momo thing came out. We were getting kind of concerned with some of the things that she was watching because she's 4 years old. The stuff in YouTube Kids, I believe it goes up to their threshold is like 9 or 10, I think. So any kind of content in that range, and she was seeing things that were just beyond her in terms of things that we thought was appropriate in terms of like, I guess just the way kids act. And I mean, not that kids aren't going to act silly and do things that annoy you sometimes, but we don't need them learning extra stuff. I thought anyways from YouTube. So anyways, that's what we did at home. And then we found out that one of the apps she was using had a back door in it to take you straight to YouTube through the internet. Even though we deleted the app, it was going out. Yeah. It was super annoying. And we found this out after the Momo thing, and we were like, oh my God, like we have to lock this. And so my wife locked it on the iPad, so she can't get there anymore. So, Rayson, pull up that website real quick for me if you don't have it already.
The internet safety?
Yeah. And I wanted to, let's talk about this quickly. We'll show it in a minute. And again, I want to know what you guys think at home. Sarah McCarthy says she still uses AOL too. So that's you, Kaylee.
At least I'm not alone in this.
No, you're not alone. Definitely not alone. Didn't they shut down Instant Messenger though? Finally,
yeah,
that's gone.
I think so at least.
Okay.
I mean, no one uses it anymore. So
I'd read an article maybe 5 or 6 months ago. I thought that they had finally killed the Instant Messenger piece, which stinks because that was the most fun part of the whole internet thing. John Pelletier put up a website called NetSmart. So that's one of the ones I was looking at, John. Funny enough that you. We had, where is it now? Hang on a second. Where'd you go? Internet safety. There it is. Okay. So this is from the kidshealth.org website. I'm going to pop this up on the screen right now. And this is all websites, so take a lot of this with a grain of salt. But some of this stuff though I thought was interesting. Here's one interesting tip: never post or trade personal pictures. It seems like a pretty valid general internet safety thing. I wouldn't post. Well, I mean, I post personal pictures of myself, but I don't like to post pictures of my kids a lot because you never know who's looking at them.
It's actually funny because like internet generally is about access, and if you go back to things about Momo and other challenges and things like it's not the first one. It's not going to be the last one either.
Right, clearly.
And part of the other thing here too is that like I feel like with any type of children's programming, you could always pull from like I remember Barney really scared me or something. But like still, Barney still had to be filtered through like writers and costume designers and all these other things, right? But the thing is that like besides challenges telling kids to do like horrible things to like family and stuff like that. If you actually go down like the children's YouTube wormhole, some of like the images, some of like the animations are just so creepy.
Yes,
like,
I totally agree.
I
with that.
agree.
Have
Yes,
to be
absolutely.
explicitly like, and just like the things that that's doing mentally, and because there are like other restrictions on that. Like YouTube has like their own systems thing here and there, but like it's not really hitting like all of these things.
No,
There's
and you're
so
right.
much content.
So they're supposed to have algorithms that are supposed to ferret out these things that are, not appropriate for children. It doesn't seem to work.
No, the
because,
algorithms lead you there, if anything.
Right,
Well, that's
exactly.
That's what they were doing with the Momo videos. They were YouTube was like monetizing them or taking them off. So haven't been able to find any. But
what's funny to me is the fact that I grew up in the 80s and watching Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes, you name it, and they were like blowing each other up with TNT and smashing each other, Popeye, beating each other, smashing each other with frying pans and all that stuff. I don't know any single child that ever did any of those things, and yet people would rip on that and say, "Oh, you can't show this to kids. It's violence. It's blah blah blah."
no,
But
totally,
the stuff they get on YouTube is way worse.
I watched a
sometimes.
video
Interesting,
about that, like of all the horrible things that are like actually hidden in children's TV shows that we just like never picked up on. But
Yeah, no.
So here's an
Things are
example.
subliminal.
yeah,
The SpongeBob show. You guys ever watch this?
yeah,
SpongeBob.
yeah.
Okay.
SpongeBob.
So I used to watch it
pivotal.
all the time when I was younger. Right. There's a lot of jokes in that show that are way above a kid's.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
really,
No,
they're
right.
way above their level,
Yeah.
and they're not that they were offensive or anything, but they were
Well,
jokes that like
inappropriate.
yes, and that's the word.
It's
They
one
were
of those things-
semi-inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's like one of those things where like, oh, like say if you were watching with like a family for instance, right? And like you can even think about like the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, like the one that came out in the theaters, the first one, right? One of the main villains was Alec Baldwin, and I could tell you when I was like, what, 10 or something, like the name Alec Baldwin doesn't mean anything to me. It gets like parents in seats and like, yeah, sure, I'll see something with Alec Baldwin.
Right, yeah.
But it's one of those things too where like once, and SpongeBob has been on for years now.
Long time, yeah.
And like people who like grow up with it and go out and get the experiences in the world, come back to it and be like, oh, I have another appreciation for it because of the other jokes here, but like, why was I looking at that when I was 5?
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
And, think about shows like Ren and Stimpy or The Simpsons.
Oh, Ren and Stimpy was something else.
Ren and Stimpy was definitely something else, and that
Yeah.
was totally not a kids program, but it was something that I watched when I was younger, and maybe at the time it was okay, but if I was a few years younger, it might not have been an okay program, even though I
Yeah.
still watched it.
Yeah.
But The Simpsons, even, I mean, it's a cartoon. You think, oh, it's a cartoon, it's just funny, it's goofy. Not
Right.
really. Family Guy
Yeah.
is another one.
Have
Good
you-
show. But
Have you seen the things on The Simpsons like predicting like future things?
Oh
Have
my
you
God,
seen
right.
that?
Things
the
that-
Twin Towers, that was one of,
Yeah.
there's been a bunch of those. Yeah, those are funny. I
But
think
it's kind of crazy.
it is a little creepy. Yes, I totally agree. They could be a little bit like, that really
Yeah.
is a little too close
There was
to
one of
reality.
like there
what
was one of
actually
like the
happened.
Donald Trump one going down the elevator with like the sign in the
I
background.
remember that one.
And it
yeah.
was like actually like,
yeah.
it was
There's been
like-
some interesting things.
Yeah.
So getting back to net safety, I actually want to look at this website that John Pelletier sent us to. So, Ray Sam, pull this one up. NetSmarts, spelled with a Z at the end, .org. There's actually a bunch of really interesting safety tips on here. So thank you, John, for sending that along. And again, we're just kind of rambling here, guys. We're talking about some fun stuff. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are, though, on internet safety for your kids, if you have young ones, or if you don't. I'm curious to know what you would think about internet safety and just keeping your kids protected, because there's obviously it's a wide world out there, and it's definitely the Wild West for them. They can access a way more. When I was 5 and 10 years old, I mean, you had to go to a library if you wanted to learn about anything, for the most part, or from your parents or friends. But now it's like you can pull out your phone or smart device or iPad or computer or whatever, and suddenly you have everything, like literally everything right in front of you, which is scary. It's because it's a lot to process. So I'm curious to know what folks at home do with for internet safety with their kids. And I want to look at this website. So NetSmarts, their primary internet safety rules are 1 through 4. They've got, I will tell my trusted adult if anything makes me feel sad, scared, or confused. Okay, that's a good one. I will ask my trusted adult before sharing information like my name, address, and phone number. Very smart right there.
Yep.
Definitely can't disagree with that one. I won't meet face-to-face with anyone from the internet. Please never do that.
Yeah.
Unless you're selling something to somebody, and we'll talk about this in a second.
Even
Right.
that though.
I mean, if somebody on the internet is like, hey, I want to meet you, there's something wrong there. Red flags should be like blaring in front of you, you know, alarm bells and stuff like that.
It's actually so funny, just like culturally, what things have been shifted because of the internet.
Yes.
Because again, like you have Craigslist, you're meeting strangers.
Right. Yeah.
You have dating apps and other websites
Uber.
where you're meeting strangers.
Yeah.
Ubers.
Yeah.
Right.
Random people coming to pick you up.
They
Yeah,
never said like never drive with, never meet a stranger. Like,
Right.
never get in the car with a stranger. That's exactly what you're doing with Uber.
Yeah. And
It's true. It goes against
Exactly.
everything that you were ever taught. Like, never get into a car
Yeah.
with a stranger.
Right.
I mean, a taxi cab is one thing. It's in a legit taxi. You don't know who's driving the
Ubers,
Uber.
yeah.
No.
You know?
It's actually just very funny where like it seems like certain things are very similar, but they're just put in different contexts. Because even like the thing with like internet versus library, like again, there's like a finite amount of things that are going on in like a library. However, like if I was 5 years old, like what is like really forbidding me from going upstairs to like say I don't know, like biographies about like Hitler or something like that. Like again, like this is like the first thing I'm thinking, like, oh, whatever. But it's still there. It's still access. Like what is going on within libraries? But I think it's just like the fastness of it.
Yes.
I feel like just definitely like the speed about like actually processing and information, things like that. That's the thing that's like different.
I have a point to that I want to say. I just want to get to the last safety pledge real quick. So this last one, number 4, is I will always use good netiquette instead of etiquette. Netiquette. I've never actually heard that's a
I
new
like
one.
that.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, I like
Yes.
that. I will always use good netiquette and not be rude or mean online.
Yeah.
That's
Cyberbullying. is
cyberbullying,
big, so,
huge, big time,
Yes.
big time. So to your point about so say you're a historian. So I love
Sure,
history.
right.
World War II is sort of my, I really, I don't know why, but I've always been interested in that. And if you can go on YouTube and learn so many different things on YouTube about literally every subject you
Yeah.
want. And you watch a documentary, say, on why Hitler was the way he was or crazy.
Yeah.
You can go down some seriously dark rabbit holes with
Yes.
that. I mean, really, you start to get into like the content of like the Alex Joneses of the world and all this crazy, like the conspiracy theories, and they were in space and doing all these wacky things. I mean, you can go nuts. And that's the thing with I feel like with kids nowadays when they're on YouTube and stuff, younger children, mind you, too,
Sure.
obviously. You know, you can really go into some weird places, and then they're learning who knows what. It's not like they're watching PBS where,
Right.
you know, they show a program, then it goes to
Right.
another new program. Maybe
There's
it
like
plays
a
Curious
like
George.
someone's curating it.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody's curating the content.
Yeah.
This is uncurated content. That's actually a good way to put it. It's uncurated content. So it's just, you can end up in a dark place really quick. So it's just kind of being careful, having awareness. You know, my daughter, we like to make sure we watch what she's doing with the iPad. We
Yeah.
let her use that. We only let her use certain apps now. You know, the
Gotta be
PBS
careful.
Kids app and stuff. But
You can only listen to Baby Shark so many times.
oh, yeah. I don't even want to talk about Baby
I
Shark.
hate that
Listen,
song,
I
honestly.
despise.
Yeah, it's really
despise.
annoying.
The funniest thing though.
Babies love it.
The funniest thing though was my wife and daughter. They were listening to it constantly, and then they came out with the Baby Shark workout episode. Did you see this?
No.
This is literally like push-ups and sit-ups and leg kicks
Really?
and like this whole thing workout that they were doing, and it was insane. And my wife was it actually was a good workout, surprisingly,
Okay.
but it was all set to Baby Shark. So
I don't think I
Kinda
would do
funny.
a workout to that song.
yeah, I'm good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't get it out of my head enough as it is. Also, I wanted to mention John Pelletier said this, so that he said that the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts also make this part of their training for kids for advancement. So internet safety, he's talking about. So that's interesting to know.
Yeah.
I wish there was more of that. I wish the schools would do more of
Yeah.
that. In fact, we should maybe make
We
a note
should.
about that for the superintendent
Yeah.
for next week. Do they do anything like that? Because again, it's just it's a huge thing, a huge problem.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
again, I'm curious to know what you guys think at home. It's good to know that the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts are doing something there, and I'm sure there's other programs. There must be with the way it is nowadays. You have to, but as a parent, you have to be very on top of this stuff and watch what your kids are getting to. And even apps that you think are safe have ways to get to. Like I said, my daughter,
right.
she didn't find it because she's a hacker. She just found it by accident,
Right.
clicking on a thing.
4-year-old
And
hacker.
it took her from it took her from a kid's app, an actual game app, to YouTube, straight to it. And this was the real YouTube, not the YouTube Kids app,
Right.
which is supposed to be restricted. It's not. It doesn't work. Well, it is, but it doesn't work as well as you'd like to think it does. We've found that out firsthand.
Yeah.
So there's just, you got to watch them. Definitely got to keep an
Yeah.
eye on what's going on, what games they're playing.
Very true.
Chat rooms, the Fortnite thing. Have you guys heard about this? Fortnite, there were people using that to exploit children. There was another game, and I can't think of the name of it. Yeah, Minecraft, I believe.
Oh, I mean, Minecraft, Roblox.
Was another one.
You got all those types of things too,
Yep.
and it's actually just very interesting how much money that those like games make. Not only just from like people going in there, because it's like most of these things are like free to play.
Right.
However, like there are certain like downloaded content that you can get to where like
Oh yeah,
kids
right.
are like
You buy the
taking-
power-ups and stuff.
I'm telling you, like kids are like taking like their parents' credit card numbers and running up bills like like
Wow, really?
over $1,000.
Jeez.
Oh my
Like
goodness.
on
Yeah,
games,
oops.
so, like right, and like what are you gonna do? You're gonna take your kid to court or something?
Yeah,
Like, what are
right,
you gonna
right.
do?
Right. Yeah, that's not what you can do. You got to pay the bill, or you
Yeah.
can dispute the charges, I guess. But
Yeah.
even still,
Yeah, no, but it's still
you're
a
gonna
whole
still be on the hook
process.
for it, possibly.
Yeah, I
So
know.
yeah, wow, that's nuts.
Mhm.
Yeah, but there's a lot of places for predators to hide
Yeah.
on the internet, and a lot of times they're in the games. They're in the chat rooms of the games, and they're
Mhm.
just lurking and waiting, and they're gonna ask you some random questions.
Yeah.
One of my cousins just got on. Day, what do you do for your kids for internet safety, or do you watch your kids? I mean, his are actually just a little bit older than my kids. They're in the
Mhm.
5, 6, 7 range. So,
Yeah.
so I'd be curious to know what you guys do as well. Do you watch what your kids are doing online? But yeah, they're hiding in chat rooms, and I mean, it's just
Yeah.
ridiculous things. So just be
Scary,
careful.
yeah.
I mean, that's really the ultimate
Scary.
thing.
It's actually interesting that in a way people have sensationalized stories like this to the point where like back in like the early 2000s we had a show about it, To Catch a Predator.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and,
Right,
like,
I remember
that-
the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That did a
Yes.
lot more harm than good in a lot of cases, just because like it would really just depend, because like the places that they would put these like kind of like houses were actual residential neighborhoods. So it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, how many people are you attracting to this house and like next door if there are people there? And other
That's an
things like that,
interesting
too.
point. Yeah, that's an interesting point.
But
They
we were
did
watching
catch
it.
a lot of guys.
They
though.
did. They
Boy,
did.
it was
But it's also another
troubling,
thing too,
actually.
where it's like
How many
not
they
a lot
caught?
of them could have been like kept just because of the circumstances
Yeah.
of their capture, which is another thing. And they
Well,
go
right.
to
What's the
twice, yeah.
the legal? I'm trying to remember what it is. Entrapment, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Because basically you're entrapping
Yeah.
people. You're not allowed to do that. But
Mhm.
even still, I mean,
No, right.
it let you know who they were. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
that's
they
for
did.
sure.
They were on national TV and everything.
Big time.
Yeah, no, but
The reactions of them was, I mean,
yes.
awful but hilarious at the same
Right.
time. They're, they'd give you these funny looks and like, I don't know what I'm here for. Like,
Yeah.
I just delivered a
Wow.
pizza or
We're
something
just friends,
crazy.
yeah.
You know.
I don't value the job of that editor.
Me either. No
like,
kidding.
You know,
No
like
kidding.
to actually just see the full thing unfold. Because like even another thing too, I think that on the actual website back in the day, you could actually go and like look through the actual chat logs. Like you can actually go and like read these other things, and
Yeah.
like the ones on the show were actually the lighter ones.
Oh, really?
Online, if you actually want to go and look, and not saying that you should, and we don't.
Yes. We do
But-
not specifically endorse this, but
Right. But
the internet, you can
again,
do it.
the internet, that's part of one of those things.
Yeah.
You can do it, and like it's just a wormhole.
Yeah,
You know, it
yeah,
just
I'm
really
sure.
is.
I'm sure it's troubling
Yes.
reading. I mean, if you want to really see the worst in the world, that's
To, like,
probably
really
one good
know.
way to do it.
Mhm.
Or talk to any police officer; they'll tell you about some of the
Right.
dregs of society as well.
Mhm.
But it's a scary world out there, and
Yeah.
I mean, we're just kind of like we're talking about YouTube Kids and the Momo thing and that
Yeah.
whole thing. My cousin actually said he doesn't let his kids watch YouTube. YouTube Kids either says it's bad for his kids, or he thinks it's bad for his kids also. So
Fair.
Mhm.
you know, I'm with you. I
Mm.
totally don't think it's very good. I like I said, I've been plenty on the regular YouTube.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can go some crazy places
Mhm.
very quickly, and you don't even
Yeah.
realize it. Like you suddenly,
Yeah.
like I said, you're in Alex Jones land or whatever,
Mhm.
watching some weird conspiracy theories about.
I
you
do
know,
love conspiracy theories, I must admit.
They're fun. Yes,
I do love
Wow.
them.
They're
Yeah.
fun to think about and ponder sometimes, and laugh at a little bit as well because
Mhm.
usually they're goofy.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, it can be a little bit troubling when you're like, this person actually believes
Like,
this.
with
You know what I
enough
mean? The Earth is
passion
flat
in your
thing.
voice.
What
Yeah.
is with this? I
Yeah.
mean,
There
seriously.
was a
Let's, like-
conspiracy theory that just came out about Chuck E. Cheese pizza. Did anyone else hear about
Oh,
this?
that they're recycled.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did hear this, yes, that they take
Mhm.
the old pizza that hasn't been eaten. But
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we're not bashing Chuck E. Cheese, by the way. This is just
Yeah, I love Chuck E.
theory
Cheese.
out on the
We
internet.
are a
I used to go there
neutral
when I was
pop
little,
Chuck E.
so.
Cheese broadcast.
But
Sorry, Chuck
that
E.
is
Cheese.
that is a conspiracy theory.
Mm.
Interesting one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's troubling for sure.
Mm.
We are going to talk about good food later on around
Yeah.
town, so
Mm.
let's we'll save that one for later. Not that we're going to talk about Chuck E. Cheese and rip on anybody, of course, but definitely not.
You know what I want to talk to you two about though.
What's that?
I want. It's Girl Scout cookie season.
Oh man, yes,
Right,
Girl Scout
We
cookies.
gotta get
Mhm.
into it.
All
What's
right.
the favorite? What's
I like Thin Mints, and
Thin
when
Mints?
when you put them in the freezer.
Oh, frozen.
Does anyone
Thin
else
Mints.
do that?
Okay, that's an interesting. Yeah, I've never done that with a Thin
Oh, they're
Mint.
really good.
Okay.
Wow, I
Yeah.
bet.
Interesting with a Thin Mint.
Mm.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I want to know what everybody at home, what their favorite Girl Scout cookie is. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of them,
Oh,
and
yeah.
what annoys me is that they changed the names of them.
Yeah, I never
they had-
really know what to call them, like caramel delights.
Give me the yellow ones.
Yeah, I don't know.
My favorite is the Samoa cookie, which also was known as the caramel delight.
Right. Yeah.
That's I know it as a Samoa, and I'll never call it anything otherwise. But
those are really good.
I laugh because the Girl Scout cookie. When I see Girl Scouts, I'll sometimes buy a box, not always, because I'm trying to watch my girlish figure here. But but I'll say, give me a box of Samoas, and they literally look at me like, huh?
Yeah, what is that?
What's a Samoa? Yeah, no, it's kind of funny.
I've been eating these longer than you've been alive.
Right? Seriously, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I also love the shortbread ones.
Those are good.
Yeah,
those are
really good.
What about you, Sam? What's your favorite?
I am a big fan of I think the old lemonades. Because like it was kind of like a shortbread one.
Yes.
But they had the icing on the bottom.
So they've changed the recipes on some of these too. Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They switch it up on me, and I'm like, I don't know.
If I remember correctly, I thought I was told that by certain regions have slightly different recipes.
Oh,
I could be
really?
incorrect on this. I thought that's what I was told. Because of copyright issues and the companies that make the cookies. So that actually blended to the naming as well. They had to change the names of some of these because of copyright issues. I don't know why copyrights make any difference in a cookie, but just make me a darn cookie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Seriously. Sell me a cookie. But you know what else is good is the thanks-a-lots. Those are good. I like those thanks-a-lots.
I don't remember which one those are.
So it's a shortbread cookie with chocolate on the bottom.
Yeah.
Wicked good.
Right,
those are good, yeah.
It's really good. It's kind of like the lemonade, right?
Okay.
Like the old lemonades used to be.
Yeah, those
very,
are
very
really
tasty.
good.
So let us know what your favorite Girl Scout cookie is. And Ray Sam's queuing up. Can you queue up that video on DDR1 for me? And we're going to show you this video. It was the Girl Scouts troop. Oh man, 66819. What was the number? It says it right on the thing, I think. Right. You'll see it in the video.
I'd also like to know.
I'm trying to remember. I don't want to goof it up and tell you the wrong troop name, but
I'd like to know people's opinions on the Girl Scout iced coffees from Dunkin's.
Oh,
People
okay.
like those.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know. What do you think about the flavored? I'm not a flavored coffee fan. Like we talked about.
I am, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the shortbread one. That one's pretty good.
Okay, but like, are they accurate?
No.
No,
I don't
not
think
to
so.
flavor.
At least.
Well, I mean, you've got the
People
coffee
might have different
undertones,
opinions,
obviously.
but
Right.
yeah. I don't know.
I'm wondering, like, just like with the Samoa, I'm like, all right, so like you got coconut coffee. Those are two just very
Coconut
distinct.
caramel.
Oh, caramel.
Right?
Oh, yeah,
caramel,
that's true too. My mom's actually a fan of those.
I don't like coconut in coffee personally.
Wait, do they put coconut pieces in it, or is it
No,
coconut
just
No,
flavoring.
it's just flavoring. Yeah.
I was about to
If there was coconut flakes in my coffee, I'd freak out.
I've had coconut flavored coffee, and you'd probably
Yeah,
gag
I would.
on it.
I would
Actually,
hate that.
I'd gag on the flakes.
Yeah.
I didn't care for coconut flavored coffee. I've
Yeah,
tried
me
it.
either.
Honeydew has a bunch of different flavors you can try.
Yeah?
I've tried
Oh,
a
yeah.
few of them.
I was looking at them this morning.
They had the blueberry one.
Blueberry
that was-
cinnamon, I think it was.
Is that cinnamon? Okay.
I think.
That one was okay. I like cinnamon flavored. That's a good one. So Starbucks does a cinnamon dolce. That's like my favorite. I love that. That's really tasty. Yeah, that's a good coffee right there. I'll tell you.
All right.
That sounds good.
But as far as flavored goes, I'm generally like kind of straight up black, not black, but dark. A little bit of sugar, a little bit of cream or milk.
Yeah,
and that's, for
I'm
me,
a
that's good.
medium. I'm a medium iced caramel with cream and sugar.
Okay.
Type of person.
How about you,
the
Rachel?
odd one out and say I don't really drink coffee.
Do you drink tea?
I do drink tea. I like some tea.
Okay.
I really am a fan of a nice green. Green ones are good.
Okay.
Oh man, I'm thinking like I think a chamomile tea is like probably like one of my favorite.
Okay.
Like,
So
chamomile
like
tea.
sleepy time tea?
Yeah,
Yep.
no, tea when like right before bed.
Yeah.
That's it.
Chamomile's good before bed, yeah.
I only like that if I have a sore throat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See,
I'm
funny,
also like a weirdo.
I
just
associate
eat
tea with
cough
being
drops.
sick.
Yeah,
funny thing.
fair.
And by the way, today's show is brought to you by caffeinated beverages. Without them, we would not be anywhere. I'm telling you right now. I do, in the wintertime, I do more tea than I do coffee.
Oh,
Because I don't like iced
interesting.
I drink iced coffee, but I don't necessarily care for it in the wintertime. In the summertime, I'll do iced coffee. And sometimes a hot coffee, but generally I stick to tea. And I drink all kinds of different stuff. I love everything, really. You name me a tea, and
Like an
I've
Earl Grey.
oh yeah, definitely. I name a tea, and I have it in my cupboard right now, guaranteed almost.
Wow.
I'll probably I think I have 3 or 4 different flavors of green. We've got like oolongs and picos and Earl
Interesting.
Greys and
Some
Irish
chives?
breakfast and
You got
what
some
that?
chives up in there?
Chives?
Yeah, chai tea.
Oh, chai tea, yeah.
Oh, I
definitely.
love
chai tea.
that.
Yeah.
Chai tea is.
Chai tea's
I love
really
that.
good.
Yeah. But
Chai
of
tea's really
course,
good.
I'm the one that gets like I get it from Starbucks, so it's probably like not actually.
I mean, it is. No, it's chai tea.
really good.
All it is
It's
black tea that's been spiced.
Yeah.
You know, there's different spices
I
in
usually get vanilla in it too.
Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
actually,
Really
that's-
good.
it.
Yeah.
That is really good, yeah.
All right. Hey.
My general order when I go to Starbucks is a grande Americano with 2 shots of toffee nut flavoring because it sweetens it also, but I like the toffee nut flavor.
Sure.
And and a little bit of milk and
I
milk and
see.
sugar.
I never know what to order when I go to Starbucks because I don't know how to say it. So I normally am just like, I like my coffee sweet
Yeah.
and light. So do what you can with that information.
I remember the first time I ordered a Starbucks, I'm like, yeah, can I get a large this? And they were looking at me like, you mean a venti? And I'm like,
yeah.
I guess. Yeah, sure. Give me
Yeah,
a coffee.
I never know how to say it
Kids are
either.
calling them.
Yeah, whenever I go, I'm like, whatever medium is, whatever you got for a sweet flavor.
I mean, it's really pretty
Yeah.
simple. They have a tall, a grande, and a venti.
I can never
And it's
remember
small,
it,
medium,
though.
large.
Never.
No? Yeah?
No, I don't. I just don't go there that often.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah,
So-
you do have to go a few times, right, to
Yeah.
get it kind of committed to memory. It's not like
Yeah.
small, medium, and large, but
Yeah,
I
no,
found that their coffee's better, personally.
Yeah.
good
I mean,
for
everybody has their own
sticking with
opinion
it.
on coffee, but
Yeah.
my personal take is Dunkin' Donuts has been watered down over the years.
Ah.
And I have had some inside information from people who actually own Dunkin' Donuts coffee places that have told me this. So
That's
yeah,
sad to me.
See.
it is sad.
Sad
It's
information.
disappointing.
I feel like they've made that even more symbolic by just calling it Dunkin's, don't they?
So what's with the
Yeah.
name? Because like I
Okay.
remember when Dunkin's actually every single Dunkin' Donuts had a bakery in it, and they made their own
Mm.
donuts.
Mhm.
Now, I mean, I won't bash them too much, but I don't care for their donuts anymore. They're these little
Yeah.
things, and they're generally kind of on the stale side when I get them. I don't know why.
too.
If I do,
Me too.
it's not just me. Then okay, I'm glad it's
Right.
not just me. But and I don't mean to rip on Dunkin' Donuts. Not all the bad.
It seems like
But-
they're slowly trying to transition them out. Like I feel like we're living in a post-donut America.
I think you're right. I actually
Okay.
really think you hit the nail on the head with that. I think they're slowly starting to
Yeah.
try to like get people to maybe eat a salad. I guess I don't know. I don't
I-
have salad for
No,
I
breakfast.
will
don't-
say, yeah,
Mm.
I like Dunkin's breakfast sandwiches. I know they're probably not the best for you, but I really love
They're
them.
not bad. Yeah. Favorite donut shop? Do you guys have one other than Dunkin's? Obviously.
Krispy Kreme.
Okay, there you go.
Except
That's-
there's none in this area.
Yeah,
There
you have
aren't
to go
any,
to
you're right.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
When I was in North Carolina, they were like all around
Wow.
where
the
I
one
was
that's
from.
in Foxwoods. Have you been to the?
I have,
Is
yeah.
Foxwoods or Mohegan? There's-
Mohegan.
Yeah.
Mohegan. Thank
Yeah.
you. It's literally the conveyor. Like you want to stick your face underneath the conveyor. and,
That's
like,
what they're
Right.
all
catch
like in
them
North
as well.
Carolina,
Wow.
and they
Yeah.
come out hot, and there's like
Ooh.
glaze all
They
over it.
literally melt in your mouth. It's,
Yeah.
it's
Back in Florida, that
unbelievable.
was
It's
it.
like making me well up thinking
Yeah,
about
those
it, like
are
how good they
so
were.
good.
Oh my god, they're unreal. So locally though, my favorite Honeydew Donuts. Love
I
them.
haven't tried any of their donuts.
Excuse me,
believe
did I
it or
say
not.
Honeydew? I apologize. Top Donut. I didn't
Top-
mean
Oh,
Honeydew.
never
Top
tried that.
Donut. My bad.
I've never
Wow.
tried
Top
it.
donut.
Where's that location?
So there's one down on Plain Street, and I believe he has one other shop.
Oh.
Not Plain Street. Oh my goodness, on the VFW highway over by the Aiken Street Bridge, where
Yep.
LaLasha Park is.
Yep.
Just across the bridge from LaLasha Park is Top Donut. They make them fresh like practically
Oh,
every
I actually
morning.
know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
They're unbelievable. They're so good. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. So if you've ever had, John Pelletier says the Donut Shack. That's his
I
favorite.
was just about
Where's
to
the
say.
donut shack?
It's like kind of Highlands area.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's on Chelmsford Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
In Lowell.
they,
Yeah, we used to go there.
I
They do have
actually
good donuts.
hear
Yeah?
that
Yeah.
they do them fresh, like at 4 in the morning.
So he's one of the last guys, one of the last small mom and pop shops, at least that I know of around, that still makes their own fresh donuts, just like Top Donut
Yeah.
does.
Mm.
His are really good. He used to make a like a cream filled one, and I think it was a guy that used to do it, the baker. But man, those were good. Those were
Yeah.
really good.
I know
But
I
yeah,
want a
John's on the right
donut.
track with that
Yeah,
one. Thank you,
yeah.
John. I forgot about Donut Shack. Those are good.
Mm.
He made a comment too. Said, "Do you know, or did you know that the lighter the roast, the higher the caffeine content?" I did not know.
I
that.
didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay.
I would think it would be the other way around.
That's what I thought too. Maybe the higher the roast, it cooks out the caffeine because you're cooking the bean more, the roasting.
I just
So
never
maybe
knew
it
that.
cooks out the I don't know. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
I'm again not very.
I'll tell you what, it definitely makes the flavor that much more intense. I like dark roast coffee myself. I'm an espresso type person. I
Yeah.
like it. I like some dark coffee.
So is
Greek
there a
coffee,
difference
things
between
like
an iced coffee and a cold brew?
Oh, cold
Yes,
brew is like
there is.
steeped, right?
Yeah, so cold brew, they take the grinds, they put it in cold water, and they let it sit in the refrigerator for 12 to 24 hours. The
Oh.
longer, the stronger.
I don't really
Obviously,
like cold brew that much.
That's cold brew. It's an intense flavor. It's definitely like it's coffee
like it?
squared.
Because you
I
like-
think
you
I do.
like
Yeah, I like it.
dark coffee.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy it. But it's coffee squared. If you don't like strong coffee, you're not gonna like
Yeah.
cold brew most likely
Right.
because it's got a much different taste. Though it can be a lot more mellow, which is nice in terms of the bitterness. It tends to reduce the bitterness. So
Yeah.
I enjoy it for that. I
Interesting.
definitely like the lack of bitterness to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. But yeah, cold brew's good. But
I've-
iced coffee is just cold coffee with ice under
I've
it.
gotten into the habit of buying coffee like when I go to school every single morning, and it's such a bad habit.
Yeah.
I just spend money on coffee every single morning instead of making it at home when I have
Yeah.
a Keurig.
Yeah.
It's
The
yeah.
K cups are now you're about to divide the room.
I know, right? I was gonna say K
Yeah.
cups. Wait a minute. Hang on a second.
Hold
Yeah.
on.
No. So Keurig coffee, K cups coffee. There, I've found it. Some of them are good and some of them not so much. I
Yeah.
had a problem with the waste, the plastic
That-
little
yeah.
cups.
Yeah.
You can't recycle them. or at least that you couldn't anyways. We were told that, and I think now you can, but you have to clean it out and go to that whole trouble.
And
so
honestly, no one's gonna do that.
right,
which
nobody's
is
gonna. They're gonna
sad,
chuck
but
it in
no
the
one's
trash.
Gonna do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna chuck it in the trash. It's not terrible. It's good for a fill in though.
Yeah.
The French press coffee is really good. If you've ever used one of those, you just boil water like you're making tea. You put your grinds in the French press, pour your water on top, and then the French press. The centerpiece, you put it in there, and you let the coffee steep for a little bit, and then you press it down, and it separates the grinds from the water, and it makes really good coffee. That makes really stellar coffee for a quick, easy cup of coffee.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely really good.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, in the summertime when we make iced coffee, we'll brew a bunch of coffee ourselves, or we'll buy it too sometimes. But we'll take the leftover coffee and you freeze it in ice cube trays.
I've heard of this.
And you make your ice cube. You make your iced coffee with the ice cubes from the frozen coffee, and that way when it melts, you don't end up with watered down.
That's what I really hate about making coffee at home, because I always make iced coffee. So it really just tastes so much watered down.
Yeah,
and
it does.
That's why I always ended up buying it.
Those cubes. Where I was gonna go was I respect Keurig for the fact that I think that they are, I guess, the coffee of the future, or like kind of when I think about
it's definitely innovative for sure.
Like you just put a little thing and then boom.
Yep.
But then I'm thinking like I feel like the Keurig, the K cups, in that future of coffee also exist in a universe where Dippin' Dots thrived. Because they
Those were good.
They marketed themselves at.
Like, you mean Munchkins?
No. I mean like the actual they're at fairs most of the time, right?
Okay.
They're little individual ice cream pellets. That's the best way I could describe them. And you they advertise themselves like this is about to be the way that ice cream is eaten forever, and I'm like, I hope not.
I love that.
Like they weren't bad, but it was one of those things where I'm like, it feels like I already am eating like melted ice cream already.
I thought isn't Dippin' Dots the freeze dried ice cream?
That's
it's
the
like
one.
astronaut ice cream.
That is the one. That's what they were like. This is it.
Which doesn't. So it's not good on your teeth when you chew on it. I've tried freeze dried, so I've got a couple of things at home actually, and it's hard on your teeth because it's like. Not terribly hard, but you have to chew on it. So ice cream you put it in your mouth and you suck it and it melts and you'd swallow it.
Yeah.
This you have to actually kind of like chew it a little bit to make it. It had the sound effect.
But it munches,
Yeah, it does. It has that crunch to it. You can kind of hold it in your mouth, but it doesn't melt like ice cream, of course.
Have you guys tried that Sub-Zero place, the ice cream?
Yes, that's pretty good actually.
Good.
Yeah.
Where is
I like that. They do the mashups.
There's one on Daniel Webster, I think, right?
Yeah, there's one on Daniel Webster. There's actually one up my way on 101A. What's it next to? It's next to an appliance store, I believe. There's a big appliance store up there. But that's good. That's pretty decent. Yeah.
Okay.
Another good way is percolated coffee. Have you guys tried this?
Never even heard of it.
Yeah. Percolated coffee. Oh my God, come on.
Don't know what it is.
Seriously. All right. So before coffee
novices.
was done in done in Keurigs and all these other things, we had these units called a percolator, and you'd put water in it, and you'd have the stem in the middle that you'd put down in the middle, and then there was a metal basket. You put the grinds in that, and then you put a lid on the percolator, and the water, as it boiled, would shoot up the middle, come down onto the coffee grinds, and then leach back down into the pot. And it made, because it was boiling water, it made fantastically flavored coffee. It operates on the sort of the same principle as the drip machines that people use. You know the drip ones where you put the water in the back and it drips out through the paper basket.
Oh, yeah.
So those don't reach quite the temperatures that generally like kind of coffee aficionados will call it like. So they don't make as strong of coffee, but percolators make really good coffee. When we make coffee at home, that's how we make it, is percolated. We have a Keurig, we have the drip one, but we don't use any of them. We use the percolator because it's pretty easy to use. And actually, I got to get a new French press now that I think about it. I mean, too, because that's a nice quick way to do a quick cup of coffee. Because the percolator takes a little work, but it's not too bad, too bad in work, but makes really good coffee. So I don't know, I like good coffee.
Yeah, me too. I can always appreciate a good cup of coffee.
So what else are we talking about? What was the other subjects we had there?
We had a goat is mayor.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh,
Can you pull that up on the web? Yeah, there you go.
Right
you
there.
got it. Okay, so this is a funny story. So
So cute.
apparently a small town in Vermont has named their new mayor, and his name is Lincoln, and he is a Nubian goat. Very interesting.
That's like the most Vermont thing I've ever heard.
It totally is, right? It absolutely is. It's absolutely hilarious. Only in Vermont would you find this happening.
Exactly.
Literally. He's a 3-year-old Nubian goat named Lincoln. He's been elected mayor of the Vermont town named Fairhaven. Lincoln will spend 1 year term making public appearances. She could not be reached for comment. I believe her last comment was meh.
So cute.
The goat
to
won the
know.
special election, defeating a dog named Sammy by only 3 votes, 13 to 10.
What?
What is going on in Fairhaven, Vermont? That they
I
named the competition was between a dog and a goat.
I love
honestly
that.
a fair one.
I mean,
a fair and balanced one.
yeah, apparently, yeah. I guess that's the only good candidates they had. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
I feel like those candidates actually had opposing views, but they respect each other.
That's awesome.
That's it.
They were going to make America great again. I had to do it. Sorry. I had to do it.
It's so cute that there's just a goat as mayor.
Oh, man.
I just think that's precious.
This is good.
Oh, fantastic.
You know,
Oh, yeah. So Lincoln the goat, he's now the mayor of the town of
I'd
Fairhaven.
like to see a picture
Vermont.
of him. Is there a picture
There
of
is,
him
yeah,
on it?
right on the side here. She's
Oh, she.
she apparently is a very nice goat.
Oh.
I like Lincoln. I
That
want
is
to. I want to see
phenomenal.
her in like a mayor's chair. I want to see her in like the chambers of City Hall.
They need to do a press junket with this. I
They
mean,
do.
clearly they've wrote an article, but like a press
Right.
junket would be totally in order for this.
You know, I always see stories like this, and I'm like, are you guys just like? I want to like go there and see if like, are you following through with this? Is a goat an actual?
How can a goat make decisions?
I mean, clearly it's a joke. It has to be. I mean, they couldn't actually say. Maybe they do. I don't know. I don't know what happens.
We don't
way
know
up in
what's going
Vermont.
on
We're
there.
Right, right.
different from state to state.
Chaz is here. Maybe we can have a goat or an animal elected to like an honorary mayor position in town. I think that would be hilarious, right? I think that would be pretty funny.
That
so
would be great.
yeah, that would be pretty funny. So, anyways, guys, we're just kind of ripping and having a little bit of fun here.
Oh, yeah.
I am curious though. So in the comment section, actually, go back to the Facebook page.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on internet safety for your kids? That was the original conversation back a ways
Wow,
now.
we lost track.
Boy, we went way. Well, we
Yeah,
moved on.
We are on a free coaster here.
Girl Scouts,
Yeah.
when the Girl Scout cookies made us go off the rails. I
Yeah.
think. That's where we
Yeah.
lost it.
Yeah. And then
where-
we started talking about coffee.
Right, true.
Mhm.
What is your favorite Girl Scout cookie? Love to hear that. What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie? And then what's your favorite type of coffee? Yeah, what do you like? What do you like brewed? Do you like it dark? Do you like it light? Do you go to which shop do you like to go to? And how do you make it if you make it at home?
Are you getting it percolated?
Is it percolated coffee?
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Or is it cold brew, or is it whatever?
Mm.
But yeah, let us know in the comments
There's so
section.
many
Curious.
different ways to do one thing, and I think
A
that's
million,
beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think
totally.
that's
Isn't it
really
great?
cool.
It's the American dream. I
It
mean,
is.
the dream of people. We can do
Yeah.
whatever we
Right.
want.
Yeah.
You know, so many different ways to come up with and do things. Just
Mm.
like brewing beer, you can brew beer a
That
million
is
different
true.
ways too. There's a bunch of things you can do, additives and all the different stuff they add in. You can make different flavors, and
Yeah.
every single one of them is different, which is awesome. I like good craft beer, so
Mm.
that's why I kind of went off on that
Yeah.
tangent. But I digress.
You can, but it's like not even a thing that you need like that much space for either.
No, you can do it at home.
Yeah,
Yep.
my friend makes like mead in his closet,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
In his closet.
yeah,
Mead is awesome too.
He,
Yeah.
Like he's just like, Racing, I'm gonna go get some hops today, and I'm like, all right. I don't know what this means, but sure, you're in it.
One of our selectmen.
Mm.
Excuse me, actually, the chair of the board of selectmen, he actually has his own bee company,
Oh,
and they
cool.
make
wow.
the bees make the honey, but they
Right.
process it and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he does make mead as well, and I'm gonna try some soon because I like mead. I've had a few different ones. When I used to do my show on WCAP, we did a lot of tastings, and I'd like to reintroduce that somehow. I'm not sure if we can do that in town hall, but we'll have to figure
Probably
that
not.
legality out. Yeah, maybe not. We'll see.
A nice
but,
community get together.
Yeah, right. There we
Yeah.
go. Yeah, we'll call it that. So that's the name we're using. But mead is definitely one of my favorites. If you like adult beverages, let's say, and we're all adults here, by the way. No, Kaylee's
Well,
not,
not
right?
me.
You're not 21.
Nope.
Yeah, so you
Oh.
can't chime in on this one.
Yep.
No, just
Sorry.
kidding.
That's why I've been
she wouldn't
silent.
know, right? She wouldn't know anything.
I wouldn't know.
But yeah, mead is really tasty. So they make some pretty nice mead over at Rick's place there. So
Oh,
definitely worth checking out.
Mm.
Anyways, we're running down on time. We're just at the last couple minutes here. I'm going to have a guest come on very shortly, Chaz Dowdy, to talk about the master plan and where they are at currently with that, and the upcoming master plan visioning session, the second phase of that. So feel free to chime in later if you want to watch. We're going to take a break in just a minute, close this one out, and then we'll bring in Chaz and we'll do a interview with that. And don't forget, also later on today, I'm going to be over at a couple of the old buildings on Kendall Road, a couple of old houses that are now vacant and going to be have work done to them to bring them up to modern standard because they're pretty old. So you'll get to see a little tour of those inside, which will be pretty neat. Any questions, as always, feel free to email me, sbrogan@tyngsborough.ma.gov. If you guys have anything you want me to get an answer on, I've actually received a bunch through. You can send them through Facebook. You can send them through email, however you want to do it. But I've gotten a few of those as of late. But any more questions, feel free to send them my way. And also, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on our content, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. That really helps to beat up their algorithm, so our stuff actually reaches out further, and also stays in your news feed, which is good because then you get to keep up with what's going on in town, the videos we do, and all that fun stuff, which is always fun. But also it keeps you up with what's going on in town because we definitely post a lot of stuff to Twitter, to Facebook, all the different pages that we have access to between police, fire, town, Tyngsborough TV, and the different group pages that we post as well too. Lots of good and interesting information, hopefully at least for you guys. You think it's good and interesting. I mean, I say that, but I'm the one giving it. So, but generally, if you have any questions on most of that stuff, you can get it all from the town websites where I pull most of that information from. So tyngsboroughma.gov, you can get the majority of the stuff that we talk about on those websites. So it's pretty easy to keep up with what's going on there. As well as calendars and all that fun stuff. So anyways, we are going to wrap this show up. Thanks to everybody for watching. Again, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you don't tune in later, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy it. It's supposed to be fairly nice. You know what, Rayson, really quick before we go, pull up the weather on the computer. You'll see a National Weather Service link there because we didn't talk about the weather because I think it's supposed to be a little bit crummy.
Isn't it daylight savings?
Yeah, oh, yes, right. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, right. So daylight savings time. Don't forget to turn your clocks ahead. We lose an hour of sleep, right? It's spring ahead, fall back. Yeah, spring ahead, fall back. So yeah, we're going to lose an hour of sleep. Hooray! But also, don't forget to change the batteries of your smoke detectors. Now is the time to do it because it's been 6 months, hopefully, since you did it last time. Yeah, so definitely do those things, and you'll be good to go, and you won't be late for work on Monday morning. I know I've done that. Oops. I forgot to change the clock. The funny thing is my phone changes, but then the other clocks around the house don't change. So goofed on that a couple times. Anyways, to the weather. Here you go. So it's going to be the rest of the day, and tomorrow looks like it's going to be pretty sunny. And then by evening, it's going to start getting some inclement weather. It's coming in a little bit of snow. I think the last I checked, it was only supposed to be a couple of inches they're expecting. Not really much. Definitely check. Don't rely on me for weather, though. I'm clearly not a weatherman. Definitely check your local weather station or National Weather Service where we pull this from, and we'll post some links to the other articles as well, so we can give credit to where those folks, those articles came from. But one of them was NetSmart, and the other one I forget the name of it. But anyways, we'll post the links. Oh, here we go. Kidshealth.org, and also from the goat story was from msn.com. So we'll post links to those so you guys can check them out for yourself. And Ray Sam, let's actually queue up on DDR1 the Girl Scout video, and we'll play that on our way out. And with that, folks, I'll say thank you again. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys later on today or next Monday with the news. All right. Ready?
S'mores.
There we go.
S'mores. Thanks lots. Thanks lots. Lemonades. Lemonades. Thin mints. Thin mints. Peanut butter patties. Peanut butter patties. Shortbread. Shortbread.
Caramel delights.
Caramel delights.
Peanut butter sandwiches.
Peanut butter sandwiches. All of them.